Hello everyone and welcome. I'm so glad you could join me today. Welcome to Empower Fantastic Life. Find your power, live without limits.
So let's just dive right in with a question for you. Have you ever been in a meeting, you've got this great idea, but you just keep it to yourself? Maybe you were worried about what people would think, or maybe you were afraid of rocking the boat. Well, if you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. It's a really powerful and often totally invisible force that's shaping our workplaces every single day.
And that's exactly where we're going to start. We're going to shine a light on this invisible threat and really dig into the hidden stress that's quietly holding our teams back from being truly amazing. So, here's the core of the problem. And it's actually pretty fascinating. It's a mismatch. See, your brain is basically running on ancient software. It's wired for physical survival out in the wild, not for navigating a quarterly review. You can think of your brain's threat detection system like a super-sensitive smoke alarm. It was designed to go off for a real fire, a clear and present danger.
But in a modern office, that same alarm goes absolutely wild for things like a sharp-sounding email from your boss, or just the fear of making a simple mistake. And the biological reaction is exactly the same. Your body gets flooded with adrenaline. It's a full-on fight-or-flight response. And when that happens, all the resources get sent to pure survival mode. And those really important parts of your brain, the ones for creativity, for problem solving, for working together, they get put on the back burner. They essentially shut down. We get scared, stressed, and, well, we stay quiet.
So, if that's the problem, then what on earth is the solution? How do we stop that alarm from blaring all the time? Well, this brings us to the absolute foundation that can counteract all that fear. Let's talk about psychological safety.
This term comes to us from Harvard professor Amy Edmondson, and the definition is just so perfectly simple. It's this shared belief on a team that it's okay to be human. It's safe to take what she calls interpersonal risks. That means you can pitch a crazy idea, you can admit you don't know something, or you can even point out a potential mistake, all without that nagging fear that you'll be punished or thought of as incompetent.
Now, it's really important we're clear on this because a lot of people get it wrong. Psychological safety is not about just being nice all the time or avoiding disagreements, and it's definitely not about lowering standards. It's actually the complete opposite. It's the secret ingredient that allows for passionate, honest debate about the work because everyone trusts that it's not personal. It makes disagreement productive instead of destructive.
And look, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. Let's look at the hard data. Back in 2012, Google decided to turn its massive analytical power inward. They launched a huge study called Project Aristotle. The mission was simple but huge. Figure out what makes a perfect team.
And after analyzing hundreds of teams and tons of data, the answer was just crystal clear. It wasn't about having the smartest people in the room. It wasn't about who had the most experience. The number one, single most important factor that separated the best teams from all the rest was psychological safety. It was the bedrock on which everything else was built.
Okay, so we've established that safety is the non-negotiable foundation. So now we can shift from the what to the how. It's time to start building the actual structure on top of that foundation. This is all about creating a deliberate, intentional culture.
And this is more important now than ever. Think about it. In a physical office, culture can kind of happen by accident, right? Through all those little chats by the coffee machine or going out for lunch. But in a remote or hybrid world, all of that is gone. If you don't build your culture on purpose, a vacuum is created. And that vacuum gets filled with things like confusion, miscommunication, and a real sense of disconnection. So culture has to be intentional.
So what does that look like? Well, a strong, intentional culture really stands on three key pillars. First, you've got trust. This means giving people the freedom and respect to do their jobs without someone breathing down their neck. Second, clarity. Getting really clear on the basics, how we talk to each other, when we're expected to be available, basically the rules of the road. And third, a shared vision, making sure every single person understands the why behind what they do.
All right, so we have our foundation of safety and the framework of culture. Now let's zoom in even further, right down to the personal level, the interactions between people. This is about making sure people don't just feel productive, but feel genuinely valued.
Companies often confuse recognition with appreciation, but they are not the same thing. That generic Employee of the Month plaque, that's recognition. It's often formulaic and public. But appreciation, that's personal. It's sincere. It's about a specific thing that a specific person did. It's the difference between a company-wide email and a quick, direct message that says, hey, the way you handled that client call was brilliant. One feels corporate, the other feels human.
And this is where it gets really practical. Just like we all have different ways of communicating, we also have preferred ways of receiving appreciation. This framework gives us a toolkit. For one person, hearing words of affirmation might mean the world. For someone else, what they really value is quality time, getting their manager's focused, undivided attention. It might be acts of service, tangible gifts, or even physical touch like a high five. If you try to appreciate everyone in the exact same way, it's like you're speaking a language they don't understand. Your good intentions just get lost in translation.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We talked about our ancient brains, the foundation of safety, the structure of culture, and the personal magic of appreciation. So let's bring it all together into a blueprint that you can actually take away and use. The best way to think about this is like building a house. Psychological safety is that solid, concrete foundation. You can't build anything lasting without it. Your intentional culture, that's the frame, the walls, the roof. It gives the whole thing shape and purpose. And then, personalized appreciation. That's the mortar. It's the stuff that holds all the individual bricks together, making the entire structure strong, resilient, and, well, a pretty great place to be. And here's a clear 5-step plan to get started on that foundation. First, you have to assess where you are right now. Be honest. Second, you've got to train your leaders because they absolutely set the tone. Third, create clear, safe ways for people to give feedback. Fourth, actively encourage smart risk-taking and treat mistakes as chances to learn, not to blame. And finally, you have to measure it. This isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a practice you have to keep coming back to.
So, as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with a challenge, a question to take with you. Thinking about your teammates, your colleagues, what is one specific action you can take this week to show genuine appreciation to someone in the way that truly matters most to them? You've been listening to Empower Fantastic Life, Jaeger Empowerment Academy. See you next time. Bye-bye.